Hi, class. So today, what we're going to do is talk about week four. Week four is a key, vital week. It's the middle week of the course, and this kind of you can think of as almost like your midterm. You're going to have to put together your project narrative this week. This is the 5-pager. This is the meat of your proposal. If anything else is the meat, this is it. This is where the rubber hits the road. This is where you describe what exactly it is you would like to do with this money that you're applying for in the ProRes RFP. Now, every every time you do one of these project narratives, you should have two things. You should have a problem statement and you should have a needs assessment. Doesn't matter which agency you're writing for. Doesn't matter if it's private, philanthropy, or public. In general, you should always have these two things. Now, whether you call them out very specifically in your grant and you say problem statement in bold and then list it, and then you say needs assessment in bold and explain, or whether you just kind of weave it into the narrative, that can be a matter of style. But they both should be in there no matter what you do. It might make it easier for the purposes of this class if you do just bold it out and call it out, right? That it's right up front, everyone knows it. But whatever you want to do, make sure they're both in there. So the problem statement states exactly what it is that you're attempting to solve or partially solve. Usually we're just partially solving things with your project. What is the problem that your organization is seeking to address, and how is the money from this grant going to execute a project to mitigate that problem, if not solve it outright? Now, maybe you expect to solve it outright in a small neighborhood, in a small geography, in a small demography, but 500,000 is just not going to be enough money to run a project to solve it across the entirety of the United States of America or something like that. That's fine. Typically, what National Science Foundation likes is situations like that, where you can have a third section, and NSF wants this a lot. Not every agency wants this one as much, but this is very, very common for them, called broader impacts. Where you talk about the broader impacts of whatever research it is you're doing, what they could potentially be. Now, maybe you're doing a small project that could solve a problem in one given neighborhood. That problem could be any kind of social problem. I want you to realize any kind of policy problem. It's fair game, right? Maybe you just want to use a new type of concrete for sidewalk construction that improves environmental conditions through better runoff or something. Maybe you want to attempt to have better educational support structures for communities with high rates of Section 8 housing vouchers. And so that might be a housing and urban development problem. That might be an education problem. Maybe it's a way of tying the two together. You see what I'm saying? It could be energy. It could be environment. It could be, healthcare. It could be anything across the board in this particular grant. But what the most important thing is that you have a narrative, and that whatever you're doing, you could imagine scaling up and having a broader impact on the world, or going from just a research project to something put into practice that would have a broader impact on the world. So it's good if your narrative has a little section about that too. And you're going to have to explain exactly in as detailed manner as possible what it is your project is, like what it is you're trying to do here. These 5 pages are going to be tough. If you're doing this right, it should be tough to keep it only at 5 pages. You're going to be itching for space. And you want it to sing, right? You don't want all the details to be buried. You kind of want call-out boxes. You kind of want it to, or at least call-out sections. You want it to stick out to the reviewers as, wow, this is something really neat. This is something cool we're doing. Good luck this week. Once again, the discussion forum posts are just to get you thinking in the right direction for how to do this assignment. I just want you all thinking in the right direction. So do your best with this. There's a couple readings. There's a project narrative from something I worked on in the past. I think you'll have a good time with it. We'll get together again in week 5.